Welcome back to another episode of CHP Sports. I am Anthony. To my left is Kenny Barber. Kenny, how you doing today?
What's up? I'm tired. I'm really tired.
There
Here
you
we
go.
are. Yeah.
As always, so probably a shorter episode today, folks, because we have some time constraints on our recording here. But a lot going on in the world of NFL because the NFL has managed to figure out a business model where they can steal the headline in the middle of March.
Yeah, all year round.
Yeah, and we have obviously the start of March Madness this week. So right after this episode comes out. So let's start with the NFL. A couple big trades, a couple big releases. I guess we'll start with the news that just broke, I guess, last night. Tom Brady unretires after a month home with the wife and kids. Decides why deal with that when you can just go make more money and be away from them, I guess. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a interesting scenario. I get it, right? He's a competitive guy, But man, I'm not even surprised. He kind of him and hawed, right? When he was getting asked, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? He's like, I'm not deciding. Then it was reported that he was, and then he said he wasn't. I feel like we're running into a Brett Favre type scenario at this point, which is what it reminded me of. When you still got a little gas in the tank, right? But I'm like, is it worth it, right? Is it worth the physical pounding you take? Is it worth maybe blowing your knee out again? What does he have left to prove, right? He's done everything. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. What else is there? I don't know. But I get it to a certain point. But at that point too, it's like he's got kids. Why would you not want to spend more time with your kids and family? So I don't know. It's a good debate. I still think he can compete. I still think they'll have a playoff team. Like I get that. I don't think if we look at the NFC now, who's left? Right, Russell Wilson's gone. All my Broncos, right? I
I
finally
was
have a
going to bring that
quarterback.
up next.
Yeah, I finally have a quarterback I can root for. You got Green Bay, right? And you got the Rams and the 49ers, and Garoppolo might be leaving. So I don't know, but so there is. I feel like the NFC is definitely the easier way to get to the Super Bowl right now.
For sure.
Yeah, so I get it. Like I understand why he still wants to compete, but yeah, it was a surprise, but still a debatable decision, I think. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to question athletes' decisions to come back just because, like you said, they're competitors, right? And that's
Yeah, it's hard to
especially
shut
if
that
you,
off.
yeah, if you've been competing for 20 odd years and you still have that fire, right? Who am I, some random dude on the sideline, to say like, oh, well, it's probably not good for you. Obviously, he's still competing at a high level. Do I think he's the best in the league right now? No. But do I think he's still like a top 10, probably, certainly, even if he falls off a little, top 15 quarterback in the league? Yeah. So, who doesn't want a top 15 quarterback in the league? No one, right?
Yeah,
The
right now
quarterbacks
because
are
I
hard to
feel
come
like
by.
yeah they're I feel like the quarterbacks are slowly retiring. Right, there's a lot of guys have retired, and I feel like the league is starving for some quarterbacks right now. So him leaving was just another legendary guy. He had Breeze last year, right? And Manning in the past few years, both Mannings, right? There's been a drop off. I feel like, and there's some good young guys, but it's I feel like the quarterback position's pretty thin right now, right? There are the Allens, Mahomes type guys that are coming up and are amazing, but I feel like there's a sharp drop off at a certain point. Like Matt Ryan's getting old, and then there's a bunch of guys that are like, okay, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
just like, right, but you have a star like Burrow coming up, those kind of guys. But other than that, I think it's a pretty tight pack, elite group that's up there, and then it's like some okay guys, and then it's like some of the lower tier teams. Quarterbacking is just not good. So
No.
yeah, so I
No.
mean, It does. He is a top 10 guy. He had some of the best numbers in the league last year, right? He just continues to do it. He's got a great supporting cast, good offensive line, good receivers, good defense. It's in Tampa. I mean, can you blame him for wanting to be in Tampa? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I want to be in Tampa. I want to be there, especially after this weekend of weather we had. So, I mean, I get it. I totally get where he's coming from. It's just, yeah, I mean, I probably, at that age, it's tough. It is tough. He's hard to shut it off. It really is.
Yeah. So again, I mirror your thoughts. Let's go over to Russell Wilson. A huge
Yeah.
trade that sends Wilson over from Seattle over to Denver for like it was so much stuff they got back. It was like a million things. I didn't even pay attention. It was
Yeah.
like a
Big,
4,700 first round picks, a bunch of
yeah,
second round picks.
biggest was probably Fant, right? Their first round tight end pick from like I think it was 2, 3 years back. Who has a ton of potential, but unfortunately been stuck in an offense with terrible quarterbacks and awful play calling. So I think he's a star. I think it is a big loss there, but I think we got back one of the elite quarterbacks in the league that I'm referring to, who just last year was putting up MVP numbers, got hurt this year. Everyone's like, oh, he sucks now. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, the guy had 40 touchdowns 2 years ago and like 13 picks and 4,000 yards. And then the team's not very good. And he broke his hand. He came back probably way too early. And he still threw 28 touchdowns and like had 6 interceptions or something in like 12 or 13 games. And half of those games he was hurt. So like the guy's great. And now he's going to have a supporting cast, a pretty good defense. Hopefully we get the offensive coordinator who can actually call something that looks like a game plan of football compared to what was going on last year. I don't know what that was, but he's got a great running game with 2 good running backs. But did they get rid of Gordon? I can't remember, but they
I
have the
don't
young guy.
think they've gotten rid of him yet.
Yeah,
I think
but
he's still on the roster.
The young kid is great.
Philip Lindsay, is that the other guy?
Nah, they have a rookie last year who's phenomenal.
Yeah, I
His
know.
name is slipping my mind right now, but he's great. He's a really good running back. The receiving core is great. Even though they lost Fant, they still have awesome wide receivers. So yeah, I'm excited. I think it's a good fit. I think we're going to get a healthy Russell Wilson, and it'll be exciting. Even if they're not, it's still a tough division, right? They still got the Kansas City and the Chargers. It's going to be a dogfight in that division. But you might see 3 teams go to the playoffs out of that division. Wouldn't surprise me. So
was it Javonte Williams was the running back?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Just for listeners that might have wanted to know who.
That's him. I can't remember his name. So yeah, it's the first time since Peyton Manning played football that I've been excited about football next year, and I can actually look forward to watching some of Denver's games. Even though my wife got rid of my DirecTV NFL package, which was crushing.
Well, you could re-sign up.
I know.
There's time.
It's a big money saver. We do have the red zone, so that's okay. But I can't see full games of Denver now.
I mean, maybe this is one of those situations where you better to beg forgiveness later than ask permission now. And
yeah, maybe it just magically appears back on the TV.
Exactly. Hunt, don't ask too many questions about this.
Yeah, just let it happen.
I got an extra nutrition client this month. I'm okay.
Don't question me right now. Just let it be.
Yeah, no, I think it's super exciting. I think, I agree. It's amazing how quickly we, as the adoring public, or just the media, tends to write off people after one bad year. We saw it with, obviously I follow the Browns. So, with Baker has a great season last year. Everyone talks about his accuracies, like one of the top couple guys in the league. This year he's injured, and he did not play well. Like, I will fully admit he did not play well this year. But he's injured his shoulder. Yeah, it's his non-throwing one, but we know it's affecting his throws. Right? Imagine injuring your hand it was his throwing hand too with Wilson, right?
Yeah. It was he had to grip the ball again.
Yeah, so he has to like relearn how to grip the ball, like figure it out with whatever's going on with the recovery. So the fact he's still managed to play it all and managed to play to the level he did with not a great supporting cast is phenomenal. So, we know Denver's offense we talked about this past year. has, the pieces are there, right? The main missing piece seemed to be quarterback. So I
Yeah.
am excited to see what happens with them. I think it'll be it'll be an exciting season for Denver and their fans. So and since I like the color orange, I'll be excited for them because why not?
Even though your team's name's the Browns.
Yeah, but then we wear orange, so when they did beat the Browns, they beat those like new jersey or uniforms a couple of years ago that everyone hated. I love the orange ones, like that, like bright orange. Oh, phenomenal!
Yeah.
I love a good
You
orange.
like the orange. You're a
I
big
like
fan
the
of it. I don't
orange.
mind the orange. I do like the dark blue colors though.
No, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
The
it's
dark blue jerseys with
nice.
the white pants. I like that uniform the best. That's what they won their Super Bowl in. Big fan of that one.
I see. I'm a big fan of, and this definitely puts me in the minority. I know this is even as an art major, this puts me in the minority. Um, the like I like the tops and bottoms when they match. Like I know it's real
I don't,
matchy,
yeah, I
but I
don't
think it's
mind
kind of
those.
cool.
I actually the uniform I like from Denver actually goes against what I normally like. I like when the helmet and the pants match. I think that looks good with like a
Okay.
white jersey, right? Orange helmet. I like the Cleveland's white jerseys actually with orange helmet.
Oh yeah,
Or no,
those look pretty good.
was it orange? What color are their helmets? They're
They're
brown
orange. They're always orange.
or they're orange. Yeah, they have the orange and the orange pants. I think that looks good. I
Yeah,
don't
no, I agree.
understand. I don't understand Dallas's jerseys and or their uniforms. Their helmets are silver. Their pants are like baby blue. I don't understand their uniforms. Um, there's a few ones I don't understand. Notre Dame, their pants are like a weird gold color, and then their helmets are bright. The pants are like mustard, and then the helmets are like bright gold. I don't understand when
I
they.
think some of that is trying to match, kind of like you want, but that you're dealing with different materials, and
Yeah,
so
and
you just can't get a
it
perfect
just
match.
looks bad. They should find bright gold pants that would look better. Or when it's like yellow with gold helmets, like that looks terrible as well.
I would agree with
Like,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
it
I just
has to
don't
be.
like
You
it.
have to at least try to get the gold, not just go be like just go yellow.
Yeah, we'll just go yellow. Forget the gold. But so yeah, I mean, I'm pumped. Maybe if my wife watches this, I want to go to Denver to watch a game this year. I would take that over the NFL package. Either one. Pick one. I'm
Dear
down.
Kenny's wife, you can see he's asking for birthday/Christmas gifts now.
Yeah, whatever it
So
is, pick one. I'm down for either one. Because then if you get the NFL package, then I'm like, I can see every game, or we'll just go to one game in person, right? I don't feel like that's such a bad ask. That seems fair.
there you go. There you go. Um, what other? I feel like there was a couple other big trades, and now I'm blanking on exactly what they were. That was the biggest one, the biggest
Uh,
news.
well, Wentz went to the Redskins.
Oh yeah, that was another big one.
Um,
What is why don't people like him?
I don't know because I mean numbers wise, he puts up decent. He put up decent numbers this year. The
Yeah.
guy had like 27 to 26 touchdowns and like 7 picks this year and 13 like 3,000 plus yards. Like good team, good running game.
Now I hear he is like as a player. I hear he's like one of those guys. Since I haven't watched him play too much, he's one of those guys that never gives up on a play, which kind of to his own detriment. Like he'll try and
and he can get
not go
hurt.
down and then like
Yeah,
throws
or
the
he could
ball up and gets it.
fumble. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I could see that. I also I forget who was saying it was something about he's got some leadership issues. Like he's not like a kind of a born leader. I don't know what that means really.
Yeah, exactly. That's the issue. I mean, I've heard kind of that thing too, where people
Yeah,
like in the locker room he doesn't quite get along. But again, I don't kind of like we talked about the other week. What does that mean? What do
yeah.
you
And
want?
then if you see a pattern, maybe it is a thing. Maybe he doesn't connect well with his guys. I don't know. But like you're saying, is it? Do you have to though, or do you just have to go out and perform? Which for the most part, yeah, he had a bad year 2 years ago with the Eagles, but he also had JV football, high school players to throw to, and no offensive line that could pass block. So I mean, he was in a terrible situation.
But if you ignore those minor
Yeah,
inconveniences,
if you ignore that, he had literally practice squad wide receivers, the entire group, right? And he had one tight end who caught every ball. He had one guy to throw to. Everybody's like, why is he holding on to the ball too long? Like, because no one's open. they're they're not good wide receivers. He's trying to wait for them to get open, but they're just not. Like that. So you know, I like the guy. I hope he does well. He did nothing but put up good numbers, I thought, for a few years in Philly, and he put up good numbers last year. Yeah, they lost at the end. They should have been in the playoffs. I feel like he got that kind of dumped on him. He didn't play
Yeah,
that well. He did have some key turnovers in that last game against the Jags, right? So that probably didn't help. But I think he's in another decent position in Washington. The division's terrible, right?
yeah,
You could easily be
not
the
great.
second best team in that division behind Dallas immediately, right? They have decent wide receivers. They have a good running game, great defense. We know Redskins have a good defense.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the atmosphere he needs. I thought it would be great in Indianapolis. He had his old offensive coordinator with Frank Reich. I feel like once Reich left Philly, that was the kind of demise there. Um, so yeah, I mean, I hope it works out for the guy. He's been hated on a lot, so we'll see. He didn't leave Philly nicely. That he kind of just wanted to quit. Made it pretty pretty obvious that he wanted to leave. So the Philly fans hate his guts, but
Well,
I
Philly
like
hates
them.
everyone's
Yeah, I
guts.
like
So
Denver, so it didn't really bother me. I would have taken him in Denver over what we have. I would have been like, all right, cool, we upgraded. So that was one. Mitch Trubisky just went to the Steelers. There was another one that just happened. Very interesting. I don't know if that's the guy they wanted. I don't know. I thought Deshaun was going to be the answer there, or Russell Wilson, because I guess Deshaun's clear of criminal charges now, but
I don't know how that's possible,
he
but
still
yeah,
has
apparently.
22 civil suits against
Yeah,
him.
I like how everyone's just conveniently deciding to overlook that, like in the NFL
Yeah,
circles.
yeah, it's just so weird. The whole scenario is weird. I don't understand how it's like. I'm shocked he's even allowed.
In the league.
Yeah, like I mean, you got what's his name gambled on some games. He's suspended for the year, right? And like Calvin Ridley, right?
Calvin Ridley. Well,
Yeah,
because what we've made our priorities clear in the NFL is that gambling, which is a legal activity, is muy bueno, muy
illegal. Yeah,
malo, very bad. And forgive my horrible Spanish if you're a Spanish speaking individual,
yeah.
right?
But you can
Um,
assault multiple women.
yeah, and that's okay. That's well,
That's
you're
okay.
forgiven,
Yeah.
right? You sat out for a year. You still got paid, because he still got paid last year, I think, for sitting
And
out.
well, he's not going to be criminally charged, so then it's
Yeah,
okay
yeah.
to do that. It's really weird to me. It really is. I don't understand the whole situation. Um,
It's bad enough where it makes it hard to be a fan of the NFL. Let's put it that
yeah,
way,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I
Certainly
mean,
the team that signs him. Like I pray the Browns don't sign him.
yeah.
Right?
He's going to end. It wouldn't surprise me to see him in Miami. I know that was mentioned before. I thought Steelers was going to be it, but with Trubisky, I mean, did he really ever have a chance in Chicago? I mean, they had a bottom five cellar dweller offense, no
Yeah, it
receivers,
wasn't great.
terrible line, terrible offensive coordinator. Yeah, they had a great defense. The couple years he played. I mean, he's got the physical skills. The guy's a physically imposing person.
Yeah,
He's got a good arm. He's fast. He's strong. So, decent team in Pittsburgh. He can't be worse than Rudolph, right?
no,
Mason
no,
Rudolph.
no. Rudolph is not is. I mean, Rudolph is just competent enough as a backup, is what he is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Rudolph doesn't have the physical skills that this guy has. And it got decent receivers. I don't know. Maybe a good running back. Maybe the kid has a good year. The kid has just been trashed right throughout the year or years, I should say. He got picked in front of Mahomes. Wasn't his fault. Chicago's fault for doing that, but I hope maybe something comes out of it. We'll see. Um, yeah,
Yeah, we did also have on the Browns front, just because they are the team I root for. Obviously, they're well, they're not maybe obviously, but they're trading with the Dallas to pick up Amari Cooper, and they
yeah,
released Jarvis Landry today. So obviously, going to be a big change in the receiving core. I would also expect us to draft a receiver or two. I know there's rumors that we might go after one of the Ohio State guys.
which those guys are great. How,
They're
how long did they
phenomenal.
how long did they stick with Mayfield though? Like how long did they keep that going? How long did they keep trying?
I
How
think
many
they'll get him this
receivers?
year.
Like, how many receivers do they bring in? Number one receivers, like, uh,
I think
yeah,
they'll give him this year. I think this is the make or break year, just because it's the last year of his rookie contract. So he's gonna we either need to give him a deal or not. Um, I think it gets hard. Like if he plays like last year, let's say that injury really is like ends up being some long term issue. I hope it's not, but
yeah,
let's say it
yeah.
is.
Maybe he feels better this year and he plays better. Yeah.
Yeah, if he plays like this past year, he's gone. If he
Mm.
plays like he did 2 years ago when we went to the playoffs and almost beat the Chiefs, then I think it's a lot harder decision because even then it's like okay, you can't you can't pay him like one of the top two or three guys in the league because he's not. Like he's just not. Like I like the guy. Like I like his fire. I like his personality, but
Yeah,
he's not. One of the top two or three guys in the leagues. But that's kind of just the way it goes with quarterbacks. Is like once you it's your turn, it's your turn. So I don't know what you do money wise if he ends up playing well and if you sit there and decide okay he's a top, let's say he's a top 12, 13 guy, maybe top 15,
yeah,
somewhere in there, right? Which most people would say when he's playing well, he's in that
yeah. He's in
that
that
range.
that that mid range guys. Yeah,
Yeah, that's sort of upper mid range. So it's like, what do you pay a guy like that, right? Because he can
yeah,
he can win you a playoff game or two. Maybe he can take you to the Super Bowl. I don't know if he can win one, but maybe he gets to the Super Bowl. Like if everything else is in the right pieces, place
yeah,
parts and pieces are there. I think that's a very hard question, right? How do
yeah.
what's the market for that? It's hard because it's really been sort of either like top end money or backup money. There's kind of this big divide now,
Yeah.
and it's one or the other. Um, so last thing, real quick, I know you got to go. Any thoughts about the NCAA tournament? Any picks, favorites? Anyone you're rooting for?
I mean, I'll be watching it. I've always been a fan of Krzyzewski and the Duke program. I think they just do some cool things. A lot of people don't like them, right? We know why. Um, but I'm also a big fan of the ACC in general. I think they do a great job with their basketball. So I like to see some teams out of there do well. Uh, but generally speaking, I just like watching the games and seeing crazy things. I always hope there's a Cinderella story. There's always going to be a team of juniors and seniors that's going to be really good. And there's going to be a freshman team like Duke who's going to, you never know. They might run through the tournament or they might lose in the second round just because they're freshmen. There's a lot of young kids on their team, and that's just the way it is. Next thing you know, they're all drafted and they all go in the first round. And you're like, how did that team lose, right? But it's just, you still got to go out and play
Especially in
team
like 2 or
basketball.
3 years when they're like most of the guys are putting up like 20, 10 in the NBA.
Yeah, you're like, how, like when you see Zion and RJ Barrett that are, are who they are, and how you're like, how did that? And they had Cam Reddish, and like, how is them guys losing in college? But some of these, like Virginia Tech was a great example in the final there at ACC final. Uh, just a veteran team who played well together.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
I agree. Obviously, being a Duke alum myself, I obviously
yeah,
am pulling for them. It would be nice to send Krzyzewski off with at least a decent run, like at least get
yeah,
through the first two rounds,
that's what's
and
on
then
my mind. Like at least he goes out on a good note.
yeah, they did not play well against North Carolina that last regular season game. That second half was terrible. The guard play.
Yeah, brutal.
I don't want to knock on college kids, but the second half play was not
Yeah,
what the
it
first
just
half play was.
it wasn't
They
it wasn't them. You could see it was
Yeah,
off.
yeah, they started to force things. They started to not run the offense. They were, yeah, it was a lot of
Yeah,
the defense wasn't great. They couldn't stay in front of guys. That wasn't great.
yeah,
So hopefully, they play well and they don't, do the freshman implosion like in the first or second round,
yeah. Yeah.
which is
The,
possible. So,
it should be interesting though because I feel like there's a lot of parity now in college basketball.
oh yeah, oh
Um,
yeah,
so you just never know game to game who's going to come out of nowhere and do
yeah.
something.
Like you implied, you don't get too many of those because of the money and the NBA rules. You just don't get those teams that stay together like they used to for
Yeah,
2, 3, 4 years, and they guys develop over that time, and then you end up with like juniors and seniors that are really mature at basketball
they're
products.
based NBA
Um,
players at that time.
yeah,
Considering, yeah,
in the good programs, yeah, they absolutely
yeah.
are.
Um,
So,
Also, my friend of ours' son is D2. He's in the D2 championships. He's in the
oh,
Sweet
very cool.
16 right now. Yeah, and they just won last night or the night before. They're doing well. So shout out to KP3 or Keith Pallick. He's a freshman. He went to high school locally. 6'7" lefty, could shoot it from anywhere. Great kid
Oh,
too, awesome
jeez.
kid. Yeah, six
Very
foot
cool.
seven. He's so tall.
That's
And the NCAA wrestling championships are this weekend coming up as well, so I will be watching those as well. Very interested to see some good. The seedings are all crazy this year. There were some upsets in the conference
conference
tournaments.
tournaments.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. And shout out to my son. He finished top 12 in his state in
Did
New Jersey in his weight class, first year of competitive wrestling. I have nothing else to say for that kid. He just amazed me this year with what he did. He went from picking his nose and roll around on the mat to like competing with the top. If he won one more match, he wins a medal, right, for in the state. So pretty cool to see. So
it's
awesome
awesome.
tournament too. They did a great job. We had a good time, good experience there. So many kids there, and just some great. I mean, New Jersey's such good wrestling. There was some kids in his weight class. I'm like, I can't believe these kids are 6. How good they were. So it was fun to watch. If you're a wrestling fan, it was great. Even if you're not, even a casual fan, and you just seeing these little kids rolling around like that, it was cool. So good experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Very
man.
cool. All right, that puts us up against our recording time limit. So, like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Check out the links below where you can support us by buying templates or sign up with coaching with Kenny or myself. And we will see you hopefully next week. Peace out, everybody.
Later.